Hey everybody, welcome back. As you probably already know by now, you're watching the Opinionated Reefer YouTube channel. So I thought it was about time that I gave you guys an update on what's been happening with the SPS Dominated Nano tank. As you probably remember from my last update, I was planning to shut it down, but I ended up having to keep the tank going a lot longer than I initially planned. So this will be the final update, but as you will see, the tank's actually been ticking over quite nicely and has reached what I would call a certain level of maturity. So this is the tank as it currently is. Now I say it's ticking over quite nicely, but there is one problem. See if you can spot it, it's all over the rocks. But as you can see, some of the SPS are looking like they're starting to really take off, and that's because the tank is now 18 months old and is fairly mature. My LPS are also looking happy and healthy. My candy canes have really taken off and I've sprouted a lot of heads, as have some of my acorn colonies. I did have a few problems with some of the bigger SPS colonies stripping from the base, but that was due to lack of light rather than anything else. But on the whole, the tank's been doing well, and for the last 3 or 4 months it's really just been acting as a glorified frag tank, as you can see here. All of these frags happy and healthy, a few new additions, but they're all basically just waiting on me moving them over to the Reefer 350. You'll know if you've been following the channel that the intent was to shut this tank down about 3 or 4 months ago and move everything over to the Reefer 350 and basically just consolidate everything into that tank. But I was unable to do that because I got a massive dinoflagellates outbreak, which I covered in another video. So the plan going forward will be to move all the LPS over initially and then give it a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, see how things settle. If all goes well, I'll gradually move the SPS a bit at a time. I currently don't foresee any problems, as I've already moved a few bits and pieces, some LPS and a few tester frags of SPS just to see how things go, and they seem absolutely fine. So did you spot the problem that I mentioned earlier? Flatworms. Look at that. The rocks look kinda dark and stuffed up. Well, everything you're looking at there was 100% flatworm. Now I used flatworm exit 3 times on this tank, maybe about a, and every time I thought I had beaten the flatworms and every time they came back. Well, the last time I used it, I used a significantly higher dose than what was recommended, and they did seem to disappear. And they never came back for a while, but then I sort of took my eye off the ball, and the next time I looked at the tank, the whole surface of the rockwork was absolutely covered in flatworms like you're seeing here. There's so many flatworms, I'm actually not sure what to do about it. I've tried siphoning them out, makes very little impact on the numbers. If I was to dose flatworm exit right now, I'd probably kill everything in the tank. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just leave it and dip everything that gets moved from this nano tank into the Reefer 350. That's the only thing I can do. The reason I say everything would die if I dosed flatworm exit now is the volume of flatworms. When the flatworms die, they release a toxin into the water which is poisonous to your fish and corals. So overall, I would say the tank has been fairly successful, but my heart was never really in it. I feel that a tank this size isn't suitable for SPS. It seemed like a good idea at the time when I was trying to downsize, but I quickly realised that you really need, I would say, at least a 3-foot tank, especially for Acropora, just so that you can get the spread of light and the sort of breadth of flow that these sort of corals need to really take off. Also, I was never really happy with such a small tank. It just doesn't do it for me. But in conclusion, if you want to have an SPS Dominated Nano tank, yes, it can be done, but it's far from optimal, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it. So here's just a quick look at the sump section in case you were wondering. Really basic setup, just got a filter sock. That's a pH probe that's been connected to my Apex on the other system. Just running a standard Kimura dosing pump. I've been running Alpha Reef pretty much from the start on this system, and I'm also dosing a little bit of ATI Nutrition Nitrate, and I was dosing a little bit of ATI Nutrition Phosphate at the start because the nutrients were always low. But that's pretty much it, just a really basic sump setup. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you found this interesting, and if you like the channel, please like and subscribe, and follow me on my Red Sea Reefer 350 journey. I'll catch you on the next one. Adios.